Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Kelly and I am on a journey to lose at least 80 pounds. Today isn't really going to be focusing on the weight loss because we just got back from North Carolina, and so I wanted to do a little recap of my trip on here. So if you came here looking for weight loss stuff, I will touch on some of the stuff that we ate, but mostly it's just going to be me saying what we did. I didn't take a lot of footage while I was there, but I'll put in some stuff of just what we did. So we left Saturday, November 20th. We flew out at the butt crack of dawn for, we got up at the butt crack of dawn. Our flight was at 6:30. Thankfully, it flew out of Monterey, which is our local airport, which is really tiny. So normally we have to fly out of San Jose. But this one was actually cheaper than flying out of San Jose, which is why we booked the trip in the first place. So it was really cool to not have to already have traveled an hour and a half before we even got to the airport. So my father-in-law, we stayed at my father-in-law's house the night before, and he drove us to the airport. We got up, I think, at like 3:30, something horrible like that. Anyway, got to the airport in plenty of time. We had a layover, so the first flight was uneventful, other than the fact that I did not get to sit with my husband because we booked on Expedia, and my husband booked it, so I guess you don't book your seats right away, or at least he didn't realize that, so we didn't. And by the time we were checking into the flights and whatnot, for this flight we weren't able to get seats together. The second flight we were. I don't fly well. I am a very nervous flyer. I have a lot of phobias, but flying is one of my biggest ones. So I wasn't sure how well I was gonna do. I had been doing some hypnotherapy for like a couple of weeks prior to just sort of see if that would help or not. I don't know if it would. I would say it helped quite a bit. Either that or I'm just getting better because we just flew in October to Maine, and I'm usually better once I actually do something, like rather than like the flight to Maine. I was a wreck because I hadn't flown in like 2.5 years. So when it's sort of familiar in my brain, I do better. So I sat by myself like a big girl, and it was only a 2.5 hour flight, but I think I did pretty darn well. I was really proud of myself. Takeoffs are the worst for me. That's where most of my fear comes from. I don't know why. I just feel like we're gonna overshoot the runway, or whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen during takeoff or landing. But takeoff primarily is my big fear. So thankfully I didn't lose it. The guy next to me didn't see me freaking out or anything. At least I hope not. So yeah, I read my magazine, and then I read some of my book, and then we were in Dallas, Fort Worth. that was a 3-hour layover, which was kind of okay because that airport is huge, like huge. I had no idea. There's like a tram to take you from one terminal to the other, and there's a ton of terminals. So I'm glad we had plenty of time. Otherwise, I would have been freaking out. It was crowded because this was the Saturday before Thanksgiving. Thankfully, though, we were able to find a little corner by ourselves and not have to sit around too many people. The flight from Dallas-Fort Worth to Raleigh was equally as uneventful until we got on the ground. And then we were stuck on the tarmac for like 20 to 25 minutes, maybe even a half an hour, because they didn't have a ground crew ready to, wave us in to the gate. So we literally landed and we're just sort of sitting there. They won't turn off the fasten seatbelt sign, and then they finally come on and they say, we can't find a ground crew. There's also 3 planes ahead of us who can't find a ground crew, so sit tight. And for me, it was good because we were on the ground, so I felt safe and I wasn't that worried. My husband was getting annoyed, mainly because he had to pee. I think it was like a 3.5-hour flight, and he was hoping he wouldn't have to use the airplane lavatory, and he thought he would have been okay until this 30-minute delay on the tarmac. What was annoying to us the most was that his brother was already waiting at the cell phone parking lot, and it would have been perfect timing because they were like 10 minutes out when we landed, when, got on our phones and texted them, and they're like, oh, we have like 10-15 minutes till we get there. We're like, perfect. That'll be just enough time to go get our bags. And then you guys will be like right here. It'll be perfect. You guys won't have to wait for us. And then that happened, which wouldn't be normally, it's annoying to have to wait for somebody at the airport. But when you have 2 5-year-olds in the back seat and it's way past their bedtime already, yeah. But they were very good sports. The kids didn't know that we were coming. They knew that they were getting a surprise, but my sister-in-law did not tell them because she didn't she didn't want to hear about it for a month before it was going to happen, because they're 5 and they're get very excited, and they would be like, when is Uncle Rob coming in? When is Uncle Rob coming? So she didn't tell them because of that. And then, of course, we were worried with all, the planes getting canceled and delays and whatnot. We weren't even sure we were going to get there on the day that we said we were going to. So needless to say, they were very excited when they saw us get in the car. And we tickled their feet all the way home from the back seat. So they were very happy. So that was for the flights. The trip was pretty low-key, but we planned it that way. The kids only got their first shot, so they weren't fully vaccinated, and so their parents are very cautious about, which I understand, about, getting them out to places. So going out to restaurants to eat was a no-go. Only, taking the kids places that they feel safe, and I totally get that. That is fine by me. And so there wasn't this wasn't an adventurous vacation. This was more of a nice relaxing one, which we kind of needed. My main trip was stressful to me because of having to go get my mom's ashes and all of that stuff. And so this was a nice, chill vacation. We did Thanksgiving, obviously. But a couple days prior to that, my brother-in-law took us to a grocery store, which I fell in love with. That I was told it was like a Whole Foods, but cheaper. And we have a Whole Foods out here, but we don't shop there because it's so expensive. So this place, we don't have one of these out here. It's called Wegmans. And I guess it started on the East Coast and gravitated towards the South, but I loved it. I thought it was just fantastic. There was so much. It was huge, you guys, just like gigantic. And they had so much just cool stuff, like all this this giant section of like pre-made foods, which, you know, convenience is your girl's favorite. So I was like, I mean, in awe of everything. I could have spent hours there. And it's probably a good thing we don't have one of those here, because I would be spending way more on groceries than I need to, because I would just find all these different things that I don't need but want, and I would have to buy them. So, yeah, it was really cool, and I just fell in love with it. So that was cool. I think that was one of our first outings. We took the kids had school Monday and Tuesday, and then they were off the rest of the week for Thanksgiving. So we took them to school and just chilled out with them when they came home. They absolutely adore my husband. Uncle Rob is their favorite person in the whole world. And I think it's because he plays with them constantly, because he's only sees them for a whole week at a time. So he doesn't get burned out with, you know, playing with the kids. So, I mean, it's constant game on from the second that, sorry, there was a bird. From the second that he shows up, it's like, Uncle Rob, Uncle Rob, Uncle Rob. So, that was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to see him like that, because we don't have kids and we're not really around kids a lot. So to see his inner child come out, and just, it's really cool to see. He would have been a great dad. No regrets, especially after having a week with 2 5-year-olds. I know that we made the right decision not to have children, but it was cool to see how he could have been as a dad. Thanksgiving was fantastic. Outdid herself. There was so much food. We had a neighbor of theirs over. She brought candied yams, which I don't know if I've ever actually had, but they are obviously, I mean, I'm sure y'all know, they're real good. We had turkey stuffing, mashed potatoes, salad, candied yams, green beans. I mean, all your standard Thanksgiving stuff. It was really good, really good. And then there was a bourbon pecan pie with bourbon whipped cream and a chocolate souffle for dessert. So it was really good. I did not stuff my face. I had a portion of everything, and I had a teeny slice of pie, and Rob and I shared a teeny slice of the souffle. So I didn't feel gross after, and was pretty proud of myself. So yay. Oh, we ate at a place. Well, we got takeout from a place. It was called Oya's, and it was like a Mexican food, but it was like a Latin American fusion kind of place. Sorry. How dare my neighbors walk their dogs down the street. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, the Oya's. We just got tacos, and they were really good, like way better than I've had out here. And you got to figure, I was in North Carolina, and I live in California, where Mexican food is pretty darn good out here. I did not expect much from the restaurant in North Carolina. So I was pleasantly surprised. My husband and I shared a chocolate mole enchilada. It was so good. If I overate at one meal, it was probably this meal. It was so yum, like so good. Yeah. I did have ice cream probably 3 nights, but not a huge bowl like I do on my cheat days. But I was still on vacation, and I wanted to treat myself, so I did. Other than that, we didn't really have a whole lot of big meals. And lunches were mostly snacks. I ended up having a lot of apples with peanut butter for my snacks. So I didn't I did not feel deprived, but I did not feel like I overdid it. So it was a good balance, I think. I did not weigh in when I got home because it was already Saturday and I'd already eaten, and I didn't want it to be skewed. And then I think I forgot on Sunday, and at that point it was already Monday. So I'm just going to weigh in on Saturday and see how it all works out. Yeah, that was about it. Just had a great time at home playing with the kids. Yeah. So we left again at the butt crack of dawn the next Saturday, so this past Saturday, to fly out again. Our flight was at 6:30 in the morning. When we landed in Raleigh, we felt like it was a smallish airport. We felt like it was about the size of the San Jose airport. So when we got there on Saturday morning, we got there about an hour and a half early, but we didn't anticipate having a problem until we saw the line for security. It was not only wrapped around the entire building, but then they had like the Disneyland like lines where you had to go back and then forth and then back and then forth and then back. It was ridiculous. Like, we seriously thought we were going to miss our flight. We were nervous for about a half an hour, and then the line really started picking up and moving faster. But we should have figured it was the Saturday after Thanksgiving and that would be busy, but we thought the airport was smaller than it was, I guess. But no harm, no foul. We made our flight it was boarding when we got there. We don't like to usually cut it that close. We like to at least have like a half an hour to an hour of safe time at the gate. But in a way it was kind of good because I didn't have a chance to get nervous. So this flight was a 6-hour flight. It went all the way to San Francisco. And the only 2 seats we could get together were at the very, very back of the plane, which I thought would be cool because the bathroom would be right there, and I had just gotten my period the day before. I swear I have never been on a vacation where my period was not somewhere in that vacation. It drives me absolutely nuts. I digress. But what I didn't take into the account is that the line that forms right next to you, the entire 6-hour flight of people waiting for that bathroom. I was not pleased. But the flight was uneventful and safe, and so I am grateful for that. And then we had barely an hour layover in San Francisco. And then it was literally a 20-minute flight. I thought she was joking when the flight attendant came over. It was a smaller plane, which I knew. I've flown into San Francisco before, but it was years and years and years and years ago. Like, she got on the thing and she was like, this is not going to be a full flight, and it's a very short flight. We won't have any food service, so blah, 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 blah. And so literally we got up in the air and we hit the cruising altitude, which was 10,000 feet. And she said, you can take out your large portable devices. So my husband takes out his iPad because he wants to finish watching the episode of Squid Games that he started on the other flight. And so he literally gets it. He puts his headphones in, and I swear 8 minutes later, she comes back on. Okay, we've started our descent. You need to put away your devices. And I just thought it was the funniest thing in the world, but I was so happy because that's my kind of flight. I like a nice short flight. So we flew back home, and my father-in-law he picked us up at the airport, and he had already picked up our dogs from the boarding facility, and they were very, very happy to see us. And that was our trip. I'm sure I've forgotten a ton of details, but that pretty much was the gist of it. So it was nice to relax and not have to worry about a whole lot. My brother-in-law and my sister-in-law are incredible hosts. Their house is beautiful. And it was a good trip. All right, I think I have rambled long enough. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked any part of this video, please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys next time.